Let's talk about football. Obviously, we've got Bournemouth coming up on Wednesday night. We'll give a little bit of a preview of that. Yesterday was the Champions League draw. Man United drew Sevilla in the round of 16. An excellent draw. I'll give my reaction to that. All this Watergate stuff that's kicking off about all the fracas that happened after United lost to City 2-1 with Jose Mourinho, a water bottle, Mikel Arteta, Lucozade. We'll get into that and explain the story behind that. And also, Louis van Gaal has been talking about Jose Mourinho and, I don't know, trying to shit stir. We'll also tell you what Van Gaal said and get your reaction to that too. As always, let me know in the comments, where are you watching this from? Let me know your opinions on these stories and I'll try and get a few of them shout out as always. Live on Facebook and on YouTube. Let's get straight into the main story, which is the Watergate story. Now, it's all over the back pages. As you know, if you're watching on Ball Street's News at 10, we covered it in detail. I'm going to run through it in a little bit of detail for you now. So, apparently what happened is Jose Mourinho was angry with Man City's celebrations and how loud they were in the dressing room. He went in to tell them effectively to turn it down. A milk cart got thrown at him. And then Mikel Arteta was hit by a bottle from a United player in a fracas that happened after United and City players got involved. That's the story at the moment. Problem is there were no cameras in that tunnel. So it's United's word against City's word. Now both clubs have got until tomorrow to sort of submit their evidence and we'll find out what happens then. I'll be surprised if nothing happened as a consequence, but I'd also be surprised if anything major really happened from it. I can understand City celebrations. If United won like that in the Etihad in such an important game, I'd want United to be celebrating. Mourinho had no right to go in and tell them inside the dressing room to stop celebrating so much. If they were doing it out in the tunnels, yeah, then maybe that would be different. But they did it in their own dressing room. I think it was a bit of a nothing situation, but he was pissed off. He reacted, and clearly something else reacted after that. I don't really know what to make of it. It reminds me of Pizzagate with Arsenal and United. You want to see United players getting pissed off after a big match and a big defeat like that. I'd be more annoyed if there wasn't any sort of reaction, I suppose, but it seems a little bit childish, a little bit embarrassing, especially to go in the dressing room and tell them to turn it down. As I said, if it was outside the dressing room, I could understand it. But let me know what you think about this whole situation. We've got true United fans saying we must celebrate wildly at the Etihad. Absolutely. If we can win at the Etihad, I expect United to be celebrating like lunatics as well. Alistair Birch saying what happens in the tunnel stays in the tunnel. Now, City actually wanted cameras from Amazon to come in because they're filming a behind-the-scenes documentary, but United, they said no. Imagine what would happen if you had that. Would have had CCTV, would have been sorted already. And I wonder what really went on behind the scenes. We've got Fode Mambura saying Jose has no right to do what he did. I do agree with that. I don't think Jose should have gone into the dressing room. Zongazelli, good morning to you, saying, hope you woke up from that Manchester derby hangover. I was hungover yesterday morning. It was horrible. It was a horrible trip. Cold, freezing, bad football, bad goals, bad tempers. Just a bad day all round, really, watching United. But we move on. We've got Bournemouth on Wednesday. Obviously, we need to win that. But the Sevilla draw in the Champions League was a little bit good. I was happy with that. I wanted Sevilla or Porto. Definitely going to be booking the flights to Sevilla, hopefully today. Get them before they're too expensive. Sevilla in February, nice Spain, Spanish weather, shorts. I like that. It's a great United away trip. Sevilla, beautiful city as well. And we avoided Bayern Munich, Real Madrid and Juventus. Could have been a hell of a lot tougher. For me, it was Sevilla or Porto was the ideal draw. And I think Sevilla, yes, Sevilla's a fantastic team. Won the Europa League quite a lot in the last 5 years, 2 or 3 times. But it could have been a lot worse for me. And I think Sevilla, United should be happy with that. Let's read a few more of your comments out here. We've got Nicholas Meyer saying, Mourinho has been told for ages to calm down and behave properly. So the media is hypocritical to Mourinho when he tells other managers to behave with respect. I don't know. I think Mourinho's in the wrong here. I'm not defending Mourinho. Let's move on from it, I suppose. We've got Stumpy watching from Azerbaijan. How you doing, mate? And Mayowa watching from Nigeria. Max and Low on Facebook, as always. Good morning to you, watching from Malaysia. Jigga Thakar from India. And William Lennox with a good point here, saying, pity the United players didn't show the same amount of fight on the pitch. The most exciting thing from United in the second half was a flare that was thrown from Jay Stand onto the pitch. That's about the measure of our attacking football in that second half. Yes, we had that opportunity where Lukaku missed his chance. Ederson saved it with his face. Let's move on from it. Somebody who hasn't moved on, though, is Louis van Gaal. Louis van Gaal's been talking about Jose Mourinho and basically sticking his boot in. He said, I would rather watch City play than United. You need a quality in the squad, and it's clear City have a better squad. Don't disagree with that. If you ask me how I did at United, I would say it's my best year ever, given the circumstances I was working under. We played football that was quite all right, but that football is not appreciated in England. And yet right now, looking at United, I have to conclude Mourinho is not being criticised while it's far more boring football. What United produce now is defensive football. I always played attacking football. The proof is that the opposition were always parking the bus. They don't do that now because Mourinho plays so defensive. I'm not sure if Van Gaal believes himself when he's saying this, but he couldn't be any further from the truth. United, under Van Gaal, was such a defensive unit that Smalling won Player of the Year because he looked so good in it. We hardly conceded opportunities and we hardly had any chances. We would be lucky if we had 1-2 shots per game. Yes, he had. I will give to Van Gaal. He had great form and great results in the big matches. But this, Van Gaal, mate, you're pretty much irrelevant to Manchester United fans now. And there's no point sticking the boot into a manager. In his last season, I think in 2 years, Van Gaal scored 4 goals against 2 teams. This season, we've done it against Palace, West Ham, Swansea, Burton, CSKA, Everton. More than 6 teams already. And it's not even January yet. United have been playing very attacking football. 4 against Watford. 3 against Arsenal. United have been playing attacking football. And yes, in these big games, I agree that our stance does have to change, but it did change at Arsenal. This is the thing I'm most pissed about, I'll tell you what, after this derby. We switched to a 3-5-2 against Watford. It worked. Great counter-attacking football. We stuck with that formation for Arsenal. It worked. 2 early goals. United sat defensive. De Gea had a wonderful performance. We won the game. Why did we switch formation to 4-2-3-1 against Man City? Of all the 3 teams to play 3-5-2 against, Man City would have been the best one. You would have matched their formation. You would have got Young and Valencia as wing-backs instead of full-backs. You would have had more defensive solidarity and 3 centre-backs. But instead, we played with a 4-2-3-1. Matic and Herrera couldn't do it in midfield again. Lo and behold, you played 2 against City in midfield. Mourinho made the same tactical mistakes that he did against City last year. That was what I couldn't really get my head around or believe from Manchester United against City. How and why we played that 4-2-3-1. Madness. William Lennox saying Van Gaal's football was rubbish. Van Gaal was worse, says Visak, master of the back pass. And Aaron Mufasundi saying Van Gaal is a bloody liar. He is a liar because United's football under Van Gaal, he sucked any entertainment out of it. Old Trafford was never as flat. I remember being at the Old Trafford for the 0-0 against PSV and I think in the group stage of the Champions League. I have never seen a game of football like that in my life at Old Trafford. It was so mundane, so dull, so unexciting and uninspiring. For Van Gaal to say that he had more attacking football than Jose Mourinho is just a blatant lie. Dot Star saying, you're right, Sam, we seem to switch in the big games instead of sticking with the winning formula. It's just so weird. Watford away, hard game, used it, worked. Arsenal away, harder game, used it, worked. City at home, the hardest game. We switched formation. We switched from what was working all the way through the week before. It doesn't make any sense to me, and I'm just very confused as to why Mourinho did that. But let's move on to Wednesday night. We play Bournemouth in the Premier League. In terms of early team news, Rojo suffered a nasty head cut on Sunday. He was substituted at half-time, so not sure whether he's going to play or not. Lindelof played. He played well, so he'll probably start. Phil Jones on the bench. He could play. Zlatan Ibrahimovic, he's probably ready. Fellaini's close to being fit again. And Paul Pogba is still suspended. He's going to be missing for this one. Pogba being out. Massive, massive miss from United. Now, in terms of Bournemouth's form, they drew 2-2 against Crystal Palace at the weekend. They got a brace from Jermaine Defoe, though. He's gone plenty of goals this season. Not plenty of goals, but he's still scoring, even though he's 35. So they're in 14th place at the moment with 16 points, only 3 above the relegation zone. Eddie Howe, last year, excellent form, but this year very much struggling with the Bournemouth team, which is surprising because last year had so many more injuries. But at home against Bournemouth, given the form they're in, United should be looking at 3 points. It's not going to be an easy, confident game because it never really is anymore for Manchester United. But we just need to try and push the memory of this derby to one side and get 3 points against Bournemouth. Because if we don't get 3 points against Bournemouth and immediately move on from that game against City at the weekend, then it's going to be so tough for Man United to properly move on this season. I mean, not that the title's finished yet, but it kind of is. With United 11 points clear I say United 11 points clear. City 11 points clear at the top of the table. United can't afford to drop any more points. And that's got to start with a win against Bournemouth. Let me know in the comments what your predictions are. Master P saying Jose was wrong in terms of the tactics, but I also think it set up a return fire game. Louis was played well, but never really thought of building a team. Love from Guy. A bit of a confusing comment there. Not really sure what you mean, mate. Got Alex watching from Tanzania. And Fode Mambere saying that Lukaku should be on the bench against Bournemouth. Let me know in the comments if you agree with that. David Fox saying, have you not seen when Pogba plays, we play 3-5-2, but without Pogba, we play 4-2-3-1. That's a good comment there. Maybe it is Pogba that switched the formation, as he was available against Watford and Arsenal, but I think we could have played 3-5-2 easily against City. We had the players there. It would have been effectively the exact same starting 11, but just playing in a different style. We've got Zongazeli saying, I think we need to redeem ourselves on Wednesday and bury Bournemouth at Old Trafford. The sooner we forget about City, the better we will see them at the Etihad. We will, but fingers crossed. Anything but a win against Bournemouth on Wednesday and City getting more points. We're going to be, if you lose against Bournemouth and City win, that's 14 points. But United shouldn't be losing against Bournemouth. A few score predictions coming in before we wrap up today's. We've got 3-1 prediction from Nicholas Myers. 4-1 from Patel Sarman. What about over on Facebook? No predictions over there just yet. We've got another comment here from Dotstar saying, do we need an attacking midfielder? Because Lukaku is getting a lot of stick, but if you really look, he's not getting the service or the chances. He's not getting the service, and he won't get the service until Paul Pogba is properly back from injury. He's operating in a style which doesn't get the most out of him. And if you're not going to try and get the most out of your star striker, of course you're going to struggle to score goals. That's it for today's MUFC Daily. Lots to talk about. Van Gaal, was he right to attack Mourinho's style of play? Let me know in the comments. Watergate, who was at fault? I've told you a little bit more information, and we'll bring you more later in the week when it happens. Sevilla, fantastic draw for Man United, and Bournemouth coming up on Wednesday. Quick preview here in the MUFC Daily. Thank you all for joining in. If you're new, subscribe to the channel. If you're new on Facebook, drop a like on that Facebook page, and we'll see you tomorrow. Take it easy.